So first of all, thank you to everybody, as I truly appreciate the support and the amount of people that are joining us today and joined us before. And if I'm reaching out to my right hand to click the button, that's because they're still coming in by the dozen in the waiting room. But in about 30 seconds, I'm going to start. So I'm just letting everybody know.
Mr. Brown, is it possible to mute everybody from your end?
We thought we did that. And to be honest with you, I think everybody can unmute themselves, and I think that's why you can, because on Zoom we clicked on everybody muted, and I would handpick the people that could talk. So that doesn't seem to be possible. Apparently, you were able to unmute yourself.
I was able to unmute myself in the first conference call. I remember you,
to be honest with you.
You had a guy that came over there and muted everybody. I don't know if that magician's still there.
Maybe there's another business we need, because this doesn't work perfectly, obviously. Listen, okay, guys. So as I said, otherwise we're going to go on forever here, just bringing people into the waiting room, which they're still coming in by the dozen. So first and foremost, thank you very much again. And I really just want to, as opposed to before where I'd read all the questions, which somewhat didn't work out perfectly, I'm just going to take questions as we go along. But what I want to do is just literally, first and foremost, introduce our president, David Postula, who I don't know if you guys can all see, but I'm going to unmute David for right now. And David, welcome aboard. Although, David, can you hear me?
I can, Stephen, yes.
Can you speak up? Have you unmuted yeah, you have. Okay. David Postula, this is your first time joining us, as we've had one prior. And I'm going to let you talk about yourself in a second. I just wanted to say a few things. I'm going to have David give you his background, then we're going to get right to the point and answer some of the questions. So, I mean, there's really a handful, and again, I'm repeating myself a little bit. I'm not big on the chat room, but I have to go in there to kind of get the temperature. So I'm going to address a handful of things. First and foremost, which is where we stand in regards to the company and the OTC filings and such. And as some of you have noticed, and maybe some haven't, I did file an 8K filing with the Securities Exchange Commission yesterday, which officially made myself the chairman and CEO and David Postula as the president. Also legally putting in place the reduction of shares from 200 billion authorized to 60 billion. And we've already had that conversation on why I dropped it down, but I'll repeat myself. I dropped it down, not necessarily for pressure from shareholders, but just to show some form of direction. It's by no means anywhere close to where we're going to end up at. I'll leave it at that. And it's simply because I don't have a real reason for doing that right now. It wouldn't change a single thing. But I did it anyway. But just to let you know, it's completely in the back of my mind, and I do have an end result, a method to the madness. The other thing is that, as I've said in the past, I'm all over the OTC in regards to the filings and getting us off the dark pinks onto the pinks, and then ultimately to the QB. I think I posted something the other day regards to the filings with the OTC. They're just that far behind. And again, as you now see by the 8K, if you were able to take a look at it, I filed it at the end of April, as I've again stated. And I am on with a gentleman there. And I think there's a very strong possibility, and please don't hold me to it, but I think there's a very strong possibility that we're good next week. So that's where we stand on that. So that will move us to with all giving them all the information that they need, and we'll be on not only the OT up on the regular pinks, we'll be on also on the OTCQI, which is where all the information is provided. So that will be that's a big jump for this company anyway. And then in regards to jumping from the pinks to the QB, I engaged with MNP, which is one of the largest auditing accounting firms in North America and based out of Toronto, and they have a location in Vancouver. But I'm dealing with the original firm location out of Toronto that worked with HPIL a few years ago, because I don't know where else to find all of the information. Having said that, they've been exceptionally helpful, and we're working on getting all of the core. And I thought, sorry for jumping around here, I thought you were able to, and somehow that's not the point, the possibility of, you could actually supposedly jump from a couple of years because no business was being conducted. Well, they changed that also. So I literally have to file a quarter for every year, and obviously a K year end for every year. So we go from 2017 right up until the first quarter of 2021. And that's what we are in the process of doing. It's not as complicated as you would think it would be, because, for example, the past year and a half, the company was under administration under Angela Collette and the court system. So there was no business. So, but you still have to file the Q, even if it's a big zero. So that is in full motion. So everything that's needed is in full motion. Believe it or not, from people who don't think we're doing anything to people that believe that we're doing the right thing. It's in full motion. It's happening. I'm very, very well aware of the September date, although I believe it's going to be extended, but I'm not operating under that premise. That's it. That should put an end to that. In regards to the NFTs, so I acquired now, I think we're approximately at about 95 NFT domains. I don't want to ramble them all through, but there's lots of them. And we believe some very substantial, that's one of the reasons we were able to partner. Max Sugars, I see you drinking some wine there. I should have had a little glass before I started this. So that's one of the reasons why we were able to get Origin Protocol, which just did a $5.4 million deal today on another NFT. As I said, we've got, I think, approximately 95. We've right now, so my plan behind that was, because of my relationships in many cases, especially in the entertainment business, then I was going to go and get as many of those 95 as I could. I can't promise you I'd get all 95, but right now we've got 8. Okay. And I think we're going to pick up 3-4 times that over the next 2 weeks based on what's happening. I'm not going to give out the domain names because it's not been announced. But you will be seeing them. What we're doing right now is building the actual NFT auctions within the Origin Protocol platform. There's a template that they use, and we are building that based around that. You will be seeing the announcements of what domains are coming up. I'm expecting sometime next week, definitely the week after, again, based upon, Origin's lineup queue, so to speak. They're all very substantial. And it's easy for me to say that, but if you look at the NFT domains, they're all very substantial. So contrary to people's belief, where I did say, and I'm willing to take the heat when sometimes I say something and it drags out a little bit. I did say that I thought that would have been within a couple of weeks after our last conference call. I feel strongly I can say that that's absolutely the case now. And especially when you're dealing with the level of some of the domain names and the people involved, they don't move that fast. But we've got 8 under construction right now, all substantial. The other thing is I wanted to bring up with, before I get into the big EV subject, which everybody's, I'm sure, just waiting with breathless, waiting to see what's going on with that. And that is Crank Virtual. So as a lot of you may know or not know, I have an entertainment company, a media company, television, film, music. And one of the things is Crank Virtual, where we built a virtual shopping mall, a virtual real estate style of the virtual world. We had signed an LOI, but I do have a board with that company. I have shareholders, and that's been stretched out. I'm working on it continuously, but as of today, that has not happened yet. It's still under the LOI situation. So I wanted to bring that up. EV. So I'm kind of going to give you a story here. So I got a phone call, actually, ironically, from an HPIL shareholder, an investment banker out of New Orleans. And he said, Stephen, I'm a shareholder. I wonder if you would take a call from this gentleman that and see what you think. So I got the call from LT Portain, and actually, ironically, it was on another line. And I said, can I call you back? And I called him back. And what I discussed with him was pretty phenomenal. Now, if we were all walking down the street and somebody said to you, I can do this and I can do that, especially what we are saying right now, you would say that's probably highly unlikely. Why doesn't Chevrolet do that? Why isn't Ford doing that? Why isn't Tesla doing that? Well, I've experienced those type of business relationships. And I'm going to jump back a tiny bit. So in the late 90s through the early 2000s, I built the first music video streaming company. There was no YouTube. There was nothing like that. In fact, in the old days, you could stream. The most I could get in streaming was 15 frames per second. And if you know anything about television and film, 30 frames per second. So it was stopping and starting and stopping and starting. We probably all experienced that. And I built that company. And then I partnered with Disney, Alta Vista, Lycos, all the big search engines. And I provided them content. And many people didn't know this. It was embedded. So if you were on Lycos or Alta Vista and you're watching the Britney Spears video, it was streamed by BitNet, my company. And everybody said, well, why doesn't
Yeah, they're looking at you. Yeah, I don't know how to turn it off.
Guys, can we mute? Everybody mute, please. So I had many.
You started talking and I got in trouble.
Many people would say to me, why doesn't Disney? Why doesn't Alta Vista? Why doesn't Lycos? Why doesn't Yahoo? Why do they need you? That's because that's not the business they're in. And so having said that, that's the same thing with what's going on where we're at right now with the electric vehicle. And so to carry on the story, I had LT come down to my office in downtown Vancouver. And to back up a little bit, he's a gentleman that I'm pretty sure everybody knows the resume so far, or at least as much as I put out. He was involved in the formulation of the B-2 bomber, in the head of industrial science in the Navy. It goes on and on. A Mensa, which I'm probably never going to make. But by the way, David Postula is a part of Mensa, which we've never put out. I found that out actually later down the road. So I asked him to come down with his vehicle. And I saw with my own eyes, and I'm a relatively bright guy, and I can tell the difference. And I watched him, the car, it's a gray Mustang, and pulled behind it is a big, not a big trailer, a trailer, a tiny, actually not a big trailer, a medium-sized trailer as if we're putting in some luggage and different things. So, approximately, I want to say maybe 3 foot, 4 foot by 4 foot. So the battery, the system, the mechanism that's hooked into the powertrain, that's how big it is. Our plan is to take it to the size of a cigar box. So nothing is guaranteed, but I saw that part with my own eyes. So I made the decision to put some time and money behind it. And we're really going strongly behind it based on everything that I saw. And that's really as black and white as I can be. So can we make it that small? I don't know yet. Until it's done, I don't know yet. But I know I'm putting the money behind it. We're already, as some people have seen already, taken two buildings, 3,700 square feet and 2,000 square feet, which is down in Surrey, which is just outside of Vancouver. And I'm giving him all of the tools to do so. And I kind of want to address one thing, and I'll take the heat for this. So when we decided to go ahead with the building, I had my graphics department, just for throwing some things around, throwing the Apogee Dynamics logo up there. Well, some of the people in the chat room realized that it really wasn't up there yet. So I'll give you the upfront here. We move into the larger building at the beginning of December, because there's an existing company in there. And then the other building, which is a little over 2,000 square feet, we're moving in immediately. So we are in full motion with all of that. We're bringing in a team that he's been working with over the past 5 years. And And one of the team is in just outside of Seattle, actually, where a lot of the 3D automation is done there. So that's another location that we will be expanding on. So I feel good. I'm putting my money behind it, and that's where we stand. As you saw in some of the Twitter posts that I put out, we are engaging with some very substantial corporations. We do not have those deals closed yet, but I feel strongly that we are going to be able to do so, at least in some of those companies that will play an integral role in the building of that powertrain battery system, and also the Apogee D7. So let me tell you a little bit about the Apogee D7. Oh, obviously, it's going to use that powertrain in it once it comes to fruition. I'm the one that I was the one that had the idea of creating its own vehicle, not LT. His is all around the whole battery system and the powertrain. Stands for disruptive, if you haven't figured it out yet. And to be transparent, 7 is my favorite number, my lucky number in business. So we called it the Apogee D7. And my plan is, because of my relationships, I've taken a whole, I'm going to be a little bit guarded when I talk about this, because I kind of don't want people stealing the idea, to be honest with you. But I picked 10 companies that I've reached out to that I consider disruptive. And those are the 10 companies that are going to play an integral role in the funding / the building of the automobile. I'm not talking about the powertrain, I'm just talking about the car, the body, the inside itself. And it could be a company that is in technology. It could be a company that's in media. It could be a company that's in body frames. It could be anything. But we're building it, and they are taking equity parts in the automobile. So it could be 3% to a technology company, 5% to a body company. And again, I'm being a little generic, and I have to, because I cannot give those names out until they're public. But that's how the car is being built. And they're all disruptive companies. And that's what will bring the price of the car down, because they will be funding their equity part of the car. So every car, one company may own 2%, one company may own 4%, and such. And so that was my concept, and it's working out very well. So that's a part of the plan. I want to share a story that was given to me, and this is, I'm going backwards a little bit here. So LT has been working on this concept for about a little under 5 years, and he had developed this product over the past few years. Approximately, and I'm not right to the time here because I didn't get that in detail, but approximately 3 years ago, let's say, his vehicle was stolen when some people had found out, and it was stolen by a country that is not friendly to Canada or America. And it was shrink wrapped, the whole vehicle with the battery, with the mechanism. Could somebody turn off everybody should be muted until I ask differently. So it was shrink wrapped, and it was put on a boat in a container on its way to China. On its way to China. And luckily, LT had put a tracker on the vehicle, and the RCMP was able to confiscate his whole package, the car and the battery system that was in tow, just before it left the dock in Vancouver, British Columbia. This is now 3 years ago. So to say that we're being secretive is not an excuse. And this is a man that has been doing it on his own, with his own money, and some other top engineers that he's known for a while. So, when anybody thinks, oh, they're not telling us this, they're not telling us that, there's a reason for that, and there's a reason for it because of the public company. I love to spread the good news. I'll only spread it at the right time. But I'm just going to repeat myself one more time, and I think I'm almost finished, except I'm going to introduce David Postula. I put my own money into this company. I don't own any shares in this company. I made the commitment, and I will own my shares come the time when it's the appropriate time, and I'm worth the shares, whether it be because I built this, built that, whatever I've done. So that's what I've decided to do. The last thing is that I opened up my mouth and said all these great things last time, that the different investment banking firms and some senior people that I'm very, very connected to, I have them more than available, and some of them are aware of what's going on. So, but we're not quite there yet, guys. So when I read these chat rooms, which keeps me up at night, except I have a glass of wine that the last gentleman did, then it's all about timing. My whole life in business, and I've been very successful most of the time. It's timing is everything, and I think I'm doing one thing. I'm going to tap myself on the shoulder. I'm doing a good job at that. You just got to let me do my job, and I'll give you the best shot I can. That's it. David Postula, who has been with me for a year now on some different projects. I'm going to let him tell him just his background, David. And do I need to unmute you, or can you? Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
I'm good. Thanks, Stephen.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be part of this event. I just wanted to quickly give my background and just kind of connect myself to Stephen in a way for you. My background, I have 30 plus years of experience in high tech, from semiconductors to design services to software as a service, a variety of things. I've worked in large global multinational companies in Japan, Israel, Singapore, China. I've worked in 4 different startups, this one included. And I've worked in a variety of roles, of executive roles, from marketing, business development, sales to strategy. My expertise comes really in the form of business strategy, business optimization, sales strategy, execution, cross-team alignment. And if you think about the different sizes of the companies I've worked for and different cultural elements, it's no small task to do those different things within those types of organizations. In a startup, somebody like Stephen, somebody like myself, where you bring in a variety of background, it really becomes invaluable, because those of you that have worked in startups, you know that everybody wears multiple hats on an ongoing basis. So the more that you bring to the table, the faster pace that you can move at. So those are kind of like the highlights in this role so far. I'm learning under Stephen. Stephen's his network connections. He's tremendously networked. He's had the success of driving VidNet, into a very successful company, and he also has a number of other public companies that he's led. So I'm learning underneath him in this role. And we're doing some exciting things with the technologies that we've brought into the fold so far. So my role is to help drive a business model, business strategy, and to operationalize these different businesses so that we have an ongoing, successful, strategically positioned business in each of these different segments that we're playing into. So that's really kind of what I wanted to introduce. Again, these are early days, as Stephen had said. We've got he's building a business. I'm helping him to build that business. And, we've got a lot of very exciting things ahead of us. So that's it from me, Stephen.
Thank you. If I just may say one thing, I brought David in also to work very, very closely with LT, which he has been doing for, it's only a short period of time, but he's now starting to really integrate with LT, because if I may say this, LT is a gentleman that I'm amazed on his capabilities and everything that he's shared with us. And yeah, the obvious thing is for anybody to say, why isn't he gone to wherever? I don't want to say Tesla, the normal stuff, but where is he not? That's not his world. And that's where I feel myself exceptionally lucky to have met him. And it was just literally by a phone call from an HPIL investor. And I cherish my money. I have a family. I have lot of kids, and I spend my money wisely. And I'm happy with what they're doing. I'm very, very happy with what's about to happen here. So, but as I was saying, David has started the many conversations with LT, and we're not just two guys, by the way, just so you know this. I may have even said this before, and I use this phrase. We're not two guys sitting around the kitchen table. We got a great team. We got a lot of people behind us, whether it be programmers, marketing, and such. So we're making the commitment. So thank you, David, very much. I appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Stephen.
I'm going to open it up, as dangerous as this may sound, but I'm going to open it up. And let me go. Just hold on, guys, because there's a whole bunch of people waiting in the waiting room who probably didn't hear that, but that's because they're coming in late. So just bear with me while I let them in. Okay, I think I should probably unmute or can anybody shake their head? Can you unmute yourself? Gregory, I see you. Did you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have anywhere to control this, guys. We had a debacle last time, a little bit, but just do your best is all I can say. So maybe what I can see on the screen, but I can't see everybody, obviously. Although you know what, maybe I can go through. So Gregory, do you have a question or?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Stephen and David. Nice to meet you. And I just want to reiterate what people were saying last week as far as being really thankful for you all for opening up these shareholders conferences, having them every month. I can say I'm in about 15 to 20 other OTCs, and none of them are this transparent. So I think everybody's really appreciative about that. My question is about the Emerging Growth Conference on Wednesday. I was wondering, is there any idea of how many institutional investors, how many individual investors may be there, and the importance of being pink current and ultimately OTC QB before these investors might jump in with
So my answer to that question is I did not approach them. They contacted me because they'd been contacted. So many people apparently have been calling them, you need to get HPIL. It costs money to be a part of that. They didn't charge me anything. They had asked if we could be a lead company on there, and I actually did enough research, and so I did say yes. They've not asked anything about that, so they obviously know enough about the company because they researched it. Again, we're going to be QB ASAP. We will be off the dark pinks. I'm very comfortable with next week, definitely the week after, and don't hold me to it because I don't control it, but based upon my conversations now and my emails, I feel strong. And I am told there's over 200 institutions that are registered through the Emerging Growth Conference. How many is going to be on there? I don't know, Greg, but I'm assuming quite a few. So, yeah.
Hi, SB. This is Hat Drop. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I have a very good question for you. In our group, and we love you, by the way. Your company and this company y'all are building has moved with such momentum and has excelled past any of our expectations. And that being said, you guys have picked like so many different various sectors and backgrounds. It begs the question. I mean, and with your mindset and your uniqueness, why Cybernetic Technologies? I understand the disruptive part of it, but why go as bold as Cybernetic Technologies as the name? And that has sparked all of our curiosities.
Okay. So first and foremost, I came up with the name before I put anything into it. I wanted to be in technology. I wanted it to be around the human element. And I came up with that name based upon some research. So I didn't have any thoughts on what I was going to put into it at that point. In fact, to be really honest with you, my plan was to put Crank Virtual in it right off the bat. That hasn't come to fruition yet because there's shareholders in Crank Media, which I do control, but that's still a process. So that was the whole premise behind Cybernetic Technologies with the virtual reality. While that was going on, the NFT world jumped right out in front of my face. I had people from the entertainment business calling me, say, Steve, why don't you throw an NFT in there? So there I go. I did it. I did exactly that. I had no idea about the electronic vehicles or anybody contacted me until, like I told you guys, I got a phone call and I couldn't pass it up, and I made that decision. So if you think I had a method to the madness, I didn't, Hat Drop.
Okay, all right, thank you. No, it's very interesting, and the future possibilities that it held. A lot of us had some interest in why that name would come about. So that's very helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you, Stephen Brown.
You're welcome. By the way, curiosity is a good thing if you use it properly.
Thank you.
Max, do you have a question, or are you just sitting back?
No, yeah, what's the LT?
LT is Lord Titanian. That's his name.
Right. And the second question is, why haven't you taken options at this stage? I'm from the UK, and we have an AIM market, which is probably similar to the OTC. And you normally get people who are putting money in like yourself, taking options that, that will be sort of 10p in 2 years' time or whatever. Why haven't you taken that as a guarantee for yourself?
So I have two responses to that. So I'm as British as you are. I was born in Harrogate, Yorkshire.
Oh, right.
Okay. Moved to Canada in 1972. My parents moved there. My dad was a big farmer. May even rest his soul. He passed away a year and a half ago, but that's how I ended up in Canada. Then moved down to America to be in the entertainment business. So I'm a Yorkshire lad, believe it or not. All right. Secondly, and I think I brought this up on the last meeting, is that what am I going to do? Take 5 billion shares and what am I going to, for what reason? The only way it works for me is if I build the company. So I wanted to prove a point that I would put my money where my mouth is, which as many of you guys, and not necessarily all of you people, but you've all said you've never seen anything like this before. Well, that's good for me. So at least I proved a point that if I'm putting my money in and I don't own any shares, then there's got to be something to it. And I will get my shares. Sorry?
I'm putting my money where your mouth is because it is unusual, yes.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
But what's it worth if I don't build anything? So I'll get my money on the back end. Okay. And I'm assuming all the shareholders won't mind that I do that if I build something.
Yeah, well, good luck.
And for me to raise money right now at the price, all the people at the brokerage firms and everything, and in the penny or less than penny stocks, it's a bloodbath. I'm not going to deal with it.
Final question: how many shares are there actually in issue at the moment? So, what's your market cap at the moment? I couldn't quite work it out.
All right. So there are. The last time we spoke, there was a little over. I want to say around 8 billion shares. Okay. And as everybody jumped up and down, another 3 billion came in. That was the last of the convertible notes. And I think I posted it on Twitter when somebody was asking me a question. I had no control over that. These are notes from 2017. They were sold for pennies on the 10th of a penny, and there's nothing I could do about it. And they got converted. I even tried to buy them and they wouldn't sell them. So they got converted, and that now they are fully converted. And that's what happened. So we're around 12 billion.
Right. Thank you.
I'm going to move on to the next page. Nima, do you have any questions before I
just have a quick question on the ticker symbol. When is the ticker symbol going to change?
Whoever is doing it's not very encouraging. Okay. So it will change when FINRA approves it, and that could be a couple of weeks, and it could be a month. I don't know. That's up to FINRA.
Okay.
But if you look at the 8K that I filed yesterday, that's the first 8K I filed, I have registered the symbol of CYPT.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Pete Ruthenberg, there you go. Unmute yourself. There you go, Pete.
Thank you. So just question, if we see some tweets with car companies, we can just maybe assume those could be somebody involved possibly in the project. Don't read too much into it.
Yeah, well, okay, it's a little people have been pretty noisy here. So Pete, to answer you, I'll give you an example. The Lucid, I simply put out there because that's a competitor that I think is just to show people what's going on. Other companies you can definitely count on that potentially I am having conversations with, and maybe even further than that. So if I'm dangling a carrot, it's because I am.
Right. I think people are just reading different things into it.
Well, not from me.
Whatever they want. Right. Till I hear anything official.
There you go. And that's the only way you should ever go.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Whenever I can see where the mutes are unmuted, then I can jump to you. So otherwise, I'm going to move to the next page. And obviously, we're now at just another 29 to admit. I think I don't even know that we're at 516. So, guys, I'm going to move over here. If anybody wants to unmute. Now would be the time. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can. You are?
Okay. This is Jesse Holleran.
Okay, go ahead, Jesse.
First off, thank you very much for holding this. We greatly appreciate it. It's very eye-opening and transparent, and I think that's what this company needs starting off.
It's not that easy, Jess, either. But
I can imagine.
Okay.
The second thing I wanted to ask is, I know that you mentioned in the last conference call the Apogee website that was coming up, Apogee Dynamics website.
Yeah.
And I see on the website that you do have a link on Cybernetics, and you do have Apogee.com. What is it? ApogeeDynamics.com.
Right.
When do you expect to have the website finished, and what sort of insight can we see on that website? As far as
Apogee, I think within the next 2 to 3 weeks, definitely within 30 days. But we're trying to wrap up a few other things that will give it a little bit more substance. But definitely in the next couple of weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay,
and if
great.
I may, let me address that. Sorry for interrupting. Let me address that. So I just want to make everybody clear that Apogee Dynamics, even though they're a separate corporation, it is a company that is controlled by Cybernetic Technologies. NFT procurement is owned 100% by Cybernetic, and I can't go into detail right now regards to Apogee, but the majority shareholder is Cybernetic, and then the remaining shareholder is Mr. LT Fortinian.
Stephen,
Yes.
I've got a question in regards to the Apogee.
Yes.
It's Mark here talking. We've talked on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Mark.
Question there, is that going to be at some point spun off as a standalone where it would be sort of a dividend type thing and with somewhat of a authorized share structure in like the 40, 60, 80 million dollar or share range, or what's your exact kind of plan with Apogee? It would make sense for it to be on its own 2 feet, and it would be more prosperous doing that, would it not?
The answer I have is the same answer that I'm wondering what my wife is making for dinner this evening. I have no idea.
Gotcha.
Because I don't have a plan. I have a plan to build it. Whether it'll be spun off, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's lemon chicken, but yeah, I don't know yet. We'll figure that out come the time.
Stephen?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi. Making the rounds in social media today and the last few days, there are some people trying to kind of sow some doubt as to the feasibility of the technology. And I know you can't go into great detail about the finer points about the technology, but what can you say? First off, I don't even think a lot of people understand what a drivetrain even is, because a lot of people just aren't very mechanically savvy.
I would agree.
What can you do to kind of give people a basic understanding of what it is you're building, and then to quiet some of the doubt that people are trying to push out there for the feasibility of this in terms of literally the laws of physics? I mean, there are people that, want to try to tell others that it's just not possible to do what you're doing. So what can you say to everyone who's kind of like not sure who to believe and wants to kind of be a little bit somewhat educated on the basics of what you guys are actually doing?
Okay, so I with you. Go ahead. Sorry.
The non-mechanically and non-scientific, lay person out there.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I have the right answer for you, but I'll give you 3 of them. One is I saw it with my own eyes. I was in the vehicle. As I explained to you earlier, the mechanism, the battery mechanism was in the trailer that was being pulled, and I watched the car move. I am, how do I put it? I'm as layman as you are. I just saw what I saw. I believe the gentleman who told me all of the other things that are involved in it. I know of certain documents that are in play in regards to this and what we're going through and how we're going about it and why his is considerably different than what's out there. And I don't really have a lot more to say to that. So you got to remember, guys, this only happened a couple of weeks ago, and I made the decision based upon, again, sorry for repeating myself, what I saw, what I've heard, and also doing my own research as much as possible. So this is that early of a stage. Now, doubts, man, if I operate under doubts, I'd never be in the public arena because it's brutal. Everybody's going to doubt. I've been in the record business for 30 years. You may think it's a hit record, and I don't, and so you doubt me. So,
but it worked, right?
It absolutely worked.
Right. So it's a matter of just this scaling it, kind of.
It's a matter of scaling it, and there's some other things involved. I mean, we're in the middle of how we file the patents, what we should do. Here's an example, and I had this conversation with somebody the other day. So when you file a patent, do you know that when you file a patent and then you go through all the way through with it, then everybody gets to read about that patent. One thing I have learned is the automobile industry, that's a pretty cutthroat business. Do you know something? Do you know how Coca-Cola protect their so-called secret sauce?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Well, they don't make a patent. They renew that patent every 2 years, so you don't have to give all of your goods up, so to speak, all of your secrets. So I'm still in don't take this the wrong way. I'm still at such an early stage. I'm in an early stage of where we go in technology and how we should, sell this thing and put this thing together. But I'm not at the early stages of whether I believe in it. And I believe in it. So if you believe in me, you stick with me. If you don't, you shouldn't buy the stock.
Yeah, I agree. If I may, assuming this does work and we have it, to the size we need and we can get it in cars and this is how can this actually change the automobile industry? Assuming this all goes to plan, works out perfectly, how do you see this actually changing things in that industry?
My understanding is the government is spending billions of dollars just to put electric posts all over the country to plug your car in the next 10, 15 years. So there's one thing right there. The cost factor. I think there's many different elements, but again, we're in the early stages, but that's just one of them right there. I mean, it's just
wow.
And we're looking at many other areas in regards to what that can do. Because when I sat down with LT in this very first meeting, it works in the boat. It works in a motorcycle.
Thank you. I was just going to say.
Yeah. No, it's not just the automobile.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stephen. I don't want to take up, I'm sure there are other questions. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, Anthony.
One other comment, Stephen, if I might. So as Stephen said earlier, we're working to give LT everything he needs to move quicker, faster, towards his product. So this is another thing we're bringing in. We're bringing in other companies that can help facilitate that type of development, rapid development.
Correct. And that, again, this is probably a stretch, but I'll say it in a roundabout way anyway. I mean, you can have these type of conversations with any technology. And again, it may be a stretch, but what if people said that to Bill Gates, however many years ago? Anything's possible. Things change, and who's to say that LT doesn't have that? And I've seen it with my own eyes. So we've got a lot of work to do to bring it to the fruition. But I'm gonna make sure that he's gonna have all the tools to do so, and that's what we're doing. So buy into it or don't. But I think if I've nothing else, I've proven, and maybe not to some degree, but if nothing else, I've proven that I'm not a rainbow chaser. I do put my money where my mouth is. I've proven to myself, I've proven to many other people who've invested in my career of 30 some years. So that's all I'm asking. I don't have a magic wand, but I have a pretty good judge of character. I have a pretty good judge of business, and I'm taking this head on.
Stephen,
May I ask a question, Mr. Brown?
Yes, please.
I wondered if I could ask Mr. Postula a question.
Of course you can.
Obviously, Mr. Postula, you have an impressive background, and you joined Mr. Brown at a time before this whole EV talk started going, and I'm wondering what lured you to him and to leave what you were doing in order to join Mr. Brown.
It's a fair question. So really, Stephen and I, as he said, we started talking a little over a year ago, and some of the things that we were talking and engaging on at the time were very exciting. So, and we continue to, those things continue to play off in the background. But Stephen's success in the past, some common ideas, a shared philosophy on business. I think everybody here sees how practical, pragmatic Stephen is. That resonates well with me. I've worked for a number of very high-profile CEOs, and really, it's all about common vision, shared philosophy on strategy and business, and then good communication. So really, all of those things resonated well with me. And as we engaged in cybernetics, we started with the NFTs, and now we brought in Apogee, and things are only getting more and more exciting. And I really see how my background plays into this. So really, we have a complementary, symbiotic type of relationship that I think will spell success.
Let me even add on to that. I wasn't going down this road. I've already said that to you guys in the beginning. I was taking down the road of media and technology and blockchain and all of that. That's what the road I was going down, and we still are. This just came along. So the old saying, if it was too good to be true, well, it was true. So I made that decision to put that into this company. So, that wasn't the plan. That wasn't the direction of the company. So I'm responsible for that. And then it just ironically happened. David just explained to you, we were looking at many, many other things, and we still are. And we plan on bringing many more other things into this company that we're very familiar with. But we came up with some great concepts, how we would build this. And I made that decision. And luckily for me, David comes with an unbelievable background that definitely enhances and helps me a lot in the direction we're taking the company. So, things change, and they change real fast, but that's a decision that I made.
Stephen Brown.
Yes.
This is Hat Drop again.
Hi, Pat. Hat Drop. Where does that name come from?
Hat Drop. I don't know. It's just variously picked out.
Okay. All right. Okay.
The curiosity question.
Okay.
I wanted to see you smile. So I have another question that I want to see you smile on. We do believe in our HPIL Army, or our DD investor group that we're in, that you do have a magic wand. We love your mindset. We think it has no limitations whatsoever, and we love where the company's going. And we are absolutely in love with the fact that every little PR, every little tweet that comes out kind of links further into HPIL in the future, where it's going through, even if some of those things don't happen or they do come to light. But as we're seeing them, you're doing very great at making them come to light. And it has made, like I said, it has exceeded our expectations, and we very much appreciate you. And on a closing note from me, again, this is a curiosity, make me smile. What is your coffee mug choice for today, Our Lordship?
Got the same cup. I haven't changed it, but it's my wife bought me that. So, and by the way, I'm not a lord when I get home, only at the office. So,
well, that's typically how it is. Thank you, Stephen Brown.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Andra.
Stephen, I have a question. Yes, Stephen,
Go ahead.
I've got two questions. One with World Gaming Group, and then I know your son Gunfly has a big following. There's some rumors on the web that maybe he may be involved in leading that effort. Can you speak to the World Gaming Group? And then I'm also very curious with the success you've had in the past, taking VidNet to NASDAQ. Do you have NASDAQ aspirations, if you can clear that up? And then really, most importantly, what's motivating you at this stage of your career? Is it return on your own personal investment? Is it to change the world? A little bit of both?
Wow. Change the world? I'm not sure if I can do any of that. I'm a big family guy. Just so you guys know, I've been married for close to 25 years. I have two boys, of which one is Gunfly, which I'll talk about in a second. I also have two children from before one's an optometrist in Regina, Saskatchewan, and one's a hip hop artist, believe it or not, Nick Beasy, if you go to Crank Media. And nobody would probably believe that if you look at him, but yeah. And then my wife has two children. So we have 6 kids and many grandchildren. And yeah, hopefully I can leave a lot for my family. I love what I do. I love building companies. I said that to you before. And it's the drive. I come in here at 5:30 in the morning, and I love what it does. Well, first of all, I don't want to stay at home because my wife will have me doing all kinds of things. But other than that, I love what I do, and I have a passion. When I dig my teeth into something, it's a passion. It has to have a passion. In regards to the NASDAQ, of course I'm going to go to the NASDAQ. That's where I was before. I'm not going to stay on the pinks. I'm not going to stay on the OTCQB. I can't give you a time frame, but without a doubt, that absolutely is where I'm going. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
The World, and thank you so much. World Gaming Group with Gunfly, and just kind of what the plans are there.
Yeah. So World Gaming Group is when I moved back from London about 3.5 years ago to Vancouver. My son, both of my kids. So I have a 20-year-old, his name is Stephen Brown, ironically, and his nickname in the gaming world is Gunfly. And then my other son, Christopher, is also a professional gamer. And they are pretty high at the top of the gaming world. Stephen has somewhat left it now and has gotten more involved in my business side here, has relationships with all the top gamers in the world. Stephen was ranked in the very high in Fortnite and has done very, very well financially in winning in tournaments and such. He's 20 years old, so he doesn't have the discipline and the commitment to head up anything yet. But he definitely has the experience, and we've developed some video games and concepts that we hope to share within World Gaming. I think you'll be seeing that over the next few weeks of what we're doing within World Gaming. I've been building that for actually approximately 3 years since I've been back here. So that's actually going to come to fruition also. I've been, as I said, in the entertainment, television, film, music business for 35 years. And the gaming business knocks television, film, music industry financially in revenues away. So I'm definitely sticking into that too. And will he play a role as much as he will give me at the age of 20?
Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir.
It's Ahmed speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
Yes. So is that maybe, I noticed you guys tweeted a tweet, I believe it was yesterday, a bill has passed where they give you, the Canadian government gives you a sort of tax break if you were to pass on a business to your children. Is that something that you're looking to do in the future, considering all the newer technology that's Cybernetic is considering? Was that the reason for that tweet, or?
No, and I think are you talking about MNP? Because I don't.
Yes, exactly. I believe there was some C-207, a bill that was passed in Vancouver, in BC, I believe. Obviously I take care of my own kids, but
I don't remember posting anything like that. If you're talking about MNP, the accounting auditing firm,
Okay, it was related to that website, but the first thing on the banner was that bill that
I see.
already passed.
Okay, so to answer that question, that's obviously from their website. The reason I put that up is MNP, which is a very, very large accounting auditing firm. They were the firm that was attached to HPIL in 2017. And in order for me to bring this company current, I needed to find out where everything was buried. And they were the ones that did the last audit. So I engaged with them, and I'm working with them on bringing the company completely compliant from an accounting perspective on the OTC. That's the reason I put that firm up there.
Understood, but
had nothing to do with my kids.
Okay, understood. However, like, how much more involvement are your children going to be, like, in cybernetics, considering that, you know, like, I believe what I've been reading through the chat rooms is that, like, and you just mentioned one of your sons is in, like, both of them are into the gaming world, which is, NFTs is a huge, you know, market there for the gaming world, right? Like, so do you have any intentions of getting them more involved in cybernetics in the future, or?
So as I explained to you, my one son, Gunfly, for lack of a word, is going to be very involved in the gaming part of it. My other son, my 22, has no desire to be involved in corporate world and is becoming a computer scientist. And he doesn't want to rely upon his dad in any way, shape, or form. And I love him to death, but he at this point, no.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown.
You're welcome.
Mr. Brown, it's Mark again.
Hi, Mark.
We've got a couple multi-pronged question here for you. That's the majority of our group wants to kind of know about. Firstly, do you have a conceptual design or some type of prototype already in mind for the vehicle? And if so, what type of timeline do you think you might have where you could maybe publicly display it or have it actually coming off in a production line?
That's way down the road yet. Remember, we just started this a short while ago in regards to the car thing. So let me explain to you about that. So when I started working with LT, it was all about the powertrain and the battery. I'm the one that created the idea, the concept of the Apogee D7. So first and foremost, that's that. We're still at early, in regards to design of the automobile, we're still in early stages of illustrators, potentially working with some other companies, as David had mentioned, that David has close relationships with on developing all of those elements. But we're trying to do it as quick as we can, but yet, you know, we're still walking through the weeds.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And now further to that, when everything is kind of finalized and you know where you're going with it, do you have a plan on where production is going to be, or is this going to be something where you're going to be partnering up with someone with an existing production line? I know you've tweeted Mullen, and they've got a plant in California and one in Mississippi, so that would make sense being close to Vancouver.
Well, first and foremost, I think we'd be delirious if we didn't think we needed to partner up with some company, first of all. Okay. What was the other thing? I'm sorry, Brian.
Basically, if you were to partner up, and like, where are you going to have production done? Canada, the United States, both?
Well, without giving any commitments yet, but Canada gives phenomenal assistance and grants and all of the above in these type of things. And I think at this point, I think we're going to make it a Canadian-driven automobile because of those reasons. As you well know, General Motors makes lots of their cars up in Canada. I think if you were, you know, the early stages, the thoughts are that we would be home-based, absolutely.
And for another part of that as well, with the company, what type of valuation do you see, or are you kind of shooting for target size? Like, is that something you've got in mind, you and David, with what you guys are going to be producing? And with the battery too, is it something you're going to be like selling that battery technology to other people to use in their cars and getting a kickback in royalties from what they sell?
So first of all, if I answered that question to you, then it would be a phony answer, because I never in a million years could answer that question because I don't know. We're too early stages. Having said that, to answer your second part of that question, the beginning, the original part was definitely creating a powertrain and the battery system for other people to utilize. It wasn't until I came along which was still going to do exactly that. I'm the one, as I just said, that came along, hey, why don't we take a shot at making a vehicle too? However many a car we produce per year. So yeah, it's a bit of both.
Okay, and also, is there any new tech that you're going to kind of introduce or talk about that you haven't yet, like anything on the AI side of things, or?
I can't share that kind of stuff. That's a trade secret at this point. But when I know and I can give it to you, I promise you I will.
What's your interest in NASA?
Sorry?
What is your interest in NASA?
I love the space. I love the space world. I'd love to want to go to Mars. Wow. Okay.
Not sure what that was, but.
All right.
Mr.
If you're wondering if I'm building a rocket, the answer is no.
That helps. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Stephen, I got a question for you. Where do you see the stock ending up, I guess, at the end of the year here with more investors taking a look at it once it gets past a cent and beyond? I know a lot of those bigger investors want to see the share price get higher. Where do you see it end up, in 6 months from now?
Well, first of all, I don't have that capability of answering that question because I wouldn't even know. You guys control that as much as I do to some degree. One thing I can promise you is I have those relationships. I know exactly where I want to end up and hopefully as fast as I can. So if we're having this conversation in 4 months from now, I'm pretty sure it'll be dramatically different. I can promise you that I'm going in that direction. How quick and when, I don't know. I mean, you guys control it as much as I do.
Stephen.
Yes.
Can I ask another question? If this technology works and it's a world beater, you haven't got shares in the business at the moment. What is to stop someone coming in and making a bid and taking the company out cheap?
So the answer to that question is I won't let it get to that point. I will take care of situations when it's the right time. That right time could be 2 weeks from now. It could be 3 months from now. I won't get it to that point. I mean, that's my answer to your question.
Cool.
Steve, could I ask a question, please?
Yes.
I know, on the chat rooms, there's a lot of griping going on. There's a lot of negativity, negative bears, and I'm a big believer in you. I'm behind you 100%. But I would like to address, maybe you can address the people here about the share structure. There are people that just pound the table saying dilution, dilution, dilution. And I know a lot of us are so tired of hearing it. And I know that's not the case, but can you kind of just maybe just reassure everyone what your plan is in terms of the share structure, what you're able to control and not control? There's 12 billion shares outstanding now. Has all the convertible notes been completely done? It would be great if you could just address that. There's a lot of people on here that are it keeps running around on the text. I see it.
Yeah, well, this is one of my easiest questions. So as I said earlier, the convertible notes are completely gone. There is approximately a little over 12 billion shares outstanding. In regards to the dilution or in regards to rebirth, I have no desires to change that structure whatsoever right now. It may change when the company is much more substantial and it makes sense and it's a fair business decision with all the shareholders involved. I don't know if I brought this up last time, but I don't think I did because I got the no-go list after my last conference call. And I was flabbergasted. There's 5,156, or at that time, that was a week and a half ago, over 5,000 shareholders in this company. And in regards to, I don't know how long you've been involved in this whole OTC world and penny stock world, but those type of people have their ulterior motive. It's to take the stock lower, buy it, and then get it back. I mean, that's what they do for a living. And, at this point, I can't pay much attention to that. Otherwise, I'm not doing my job, so there you go. Yeah.
Mr. Brown?
I want to repeat, sorry for interrupting. I want to repeat that I'm not looking to reverse the stock. I don't have dilution in my head. I only have one thing, and that's building the company. And the minute that I get off of that path, we're all screwed.
Well, I appreciate you responding to that. It's just,
Mr. Brown.
It's great that you can just say that because it's going to shut up a lot of people that are so negative,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it came from your mouth. So we appreciate
Yeah.
it.
And I promise you that is the case, for what it's worth. Take my, to promise you that is the case.
Mr. Brown, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Thank you. My name is Zishant. Thank you very much for taking and conducting this meeting. Congratulations on your cult status to begin with. Continue sharing little snippets as you've been on Twitter, and couple that with execution. I can definitely guarantee that shareholders will come in droves. I have a question pertaining to Apogee Dynamics. What can you tell us about the powertrain and what are the timelines associated with that? Thank you.
I don't have those answers. I don't have those answers. I can tell you, as I said earlier, I watched it work, and we are we're moving 100 miles an hour, and I'm absorbing a lot and trying to put all the pieces together, and they are coming together. But this is way too early. When I say early, I don't mean we're waiting years from now, but it's way too early. If I give you an answer, then, and it's not the right answer, then you'll come back a month from now and tell me I gave you the wrong answer. So when I'm ready to give you the right answer that I can bank on, then I'll give it to you.
Mr. Brown,
Mr. Brown.
Maybe I can kind of help
Can you
out.
hear me okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. I think first I want to thank you for just having this conference with us, with the shareholders, and giving us your time.
Can't wait for the next one.
Right. I think my question is kind of piggybacking off of something that was commented earlier about a tweet that was posted. And my question is, do you know of the bill that was passed pertaining to the electrical vehicles? If you buy or purchase or lease equipment from a certain time period, I think the remaining time is to September of 2021, you could get funded or refunded or a rebate. Do you know of that? And if you intend on using that?
Well, but we won't have the vehicle at that point in time. So I'm not sure where that would come into play with us.
Well, it's more so pertaining to the equipment, like the machinery that's necessary to possibly create.
I see. Well, first, I know a little bit about it, and believe it or not, some of the equipment we already have, and we are obviously going to be participating, bringing a lot more in now that with the new buildings and everything. So I don't know a lot about it, but I'm not needing that to be, part of what we're doing. But if I can take advantage of it, I definitely will. But I must be honest with you, I've not really dug that deep into there.
Okay. If I may, on the tweet that was posted on Cybernetic from Cybernetic Technologies recently, I believe yesterday, there was a board of different policies that were passed recently, and on that board, it has something pertaining to that. So maybe if you'd like to dive into that page, you may be able to find a little bit more information about it.
Are you talking about on Twitter?
Yes. Yes, it was a recent tweet within the last 24 to 48 hours.
I mean, the only thing I can, well, hold on. I mean, prefer not to do it this way, but let me go on.
Yeah, I think it'd be something
well, can you read
worth taking advantage of.
Okay.
I may be able to take a look at it as well, but I cannot guarantee that I will keep my reception when trying to do these things.
Yeah, for some reason, my Twitter on my mobile phone is not, and I don't want to disconnect anybody.
Okay.
Hold on.
Even if
Go
I
ahead.
might, maybe we can answer this at a high level.
Okay.
So just going back to reset, everybody's asking about the timeline and everything. We're really looking to get LT on the right design platform so that he can take his innovation and move it forward, optimize it, and move it forward as rapidly as possible. And there is there's tremendous technology available out there for him to be able to do that. That's step number one. With that, we have our eyes on the different policies that are changing both in Canada and in the United States. There's a lot of money available in terms of loans and in terms of grants that we will be keeping an eye on. But we have to march forward on the development side of it, and really optimize that piece before we can move towards the production side and beyond. So that's a high level response, but there definitely are lots of dollars being sent in the direction of EV, both in the United States and in Canada. And as Stephen indicated, this particular technology has a unique play in that the multiple billions of dollars of infrastructure spend that need to be put in play for other electronic vehicles are not necessarily needed to the degree with this technology.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you stating that. And I thank you for allowing me the time to ask these questions. I also want to let everyone know that I posted a link in the comments that is to the page that
I just pulled that up. That's the British Columbia Indirect Tax Team, and those are tax rebates on select machinery and equipment. And that was an MNP, which is the auditing firm I told you about. I've not gone any further with them, but I find that very interesting. And because they're our auditing firm, I'll definitely be researching that.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
It's Anthony again. I think I want to try to help you guys out a little bit. I think it's good to capitulate everything we're trying to say here. Obviously, we all have an interest in the share price, but that's obviously not something that you should care about right now. I want to just say that you guys have been awesome with being transparent, giving us updates. And I think we all, anyone with a brain respects that you guys have to protect your investment and protect your technology and your intellectual property. I think all we can really ask for is for a continued sort of gentleman's agreement to share whatever you guys can share when it makes sense to share it. For example, if you get your drivetrain down from a 4 foot by 4 foot trailer size to a 1 foot by 1 foot, things like that. I mean, we obviously know you guys have to be careful, but we just appreciate your guys' transparency and your updates. And I think that's all we ask going forward is just that you guys, make kind of just a virtual handshake and say, hey, we're going to update you guys as much as we can. And that separates you already from the other OTC CEOs and executives. So thank you. But also,
thank you, Anthony. I promise you I can do that. And I'll be posting the next meeting. We're going to do it every month until we get out of the week. That I can promise you.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Brown, I have a question in regards to the a tweet that was recently posted about the Apogee that stated patent pending. You touched on the patent subject earlier. I was just wondering, would there be a timeline for the patent moving forward?
And please don't take this as I did have conversations with our attorney because I kind of knew that this was the case. We still have to protect that at this point because it's got so many moving parts to it. And I wanted to share a story, and I wasn't sure whether to say this, but I'm just going to give it to in a little bit of a broad stroke as I can without getting too in detail, but it gives you a tiny bit of a perspective. And that is when Mr. LT, a few years ago, I'd already talked about it. I think I did. Yeah, I did. Sorry. In regards to what happened to him and what had happened to his vehicle. So I don't think I'm quite at that point, and especially at the advice of our attorney and the things that we're trying to do. And as aggressive as we're being, the time frame is as fast as possible. We are aggressively working on some great relationships that I do expect for you to be hearing about those over the next 2 weeks. And that may start putting some of the puzzle together.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that there were around 95 domains with NFT procurement.
Correct.
That you have right now. You're going to try to get deals with as many of those as you can. Is there a value in the ones where you don't make a deal? Does that domain have any value? Is that a domain you could sell? A lot of us have made the comparisons to the early days of the internet with things like beer.com, shoes.com, and selling
That's
those domains?
that's a great question, and I happen to be pretty savvy in that area. So I won't go into great detail, but I got two answers. One is I probably made over $500,000 in domain names over the past 15, 20 years. I've owned lots of domains, probably over 600 domains. I probably still own over and above the 95 domains, but myself, maybe 250 domains. When I started doing what you just said, and that's acquiring those NFT domains, I started to see them falling and falling, meaning they weren't available with the ideas I'd come up with, the people that I thought I could put deals together with. I'll give you a quick example. I mean, I went to NFTMichaelJackson.com. It was $38,000 to buy that domain. I believe, I mean, I've got some very substantial ones. I'll give you an example: NFT Joe Biden, NFT POTUS, NFT on and on and on, Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, I think they're worth a lot of them. But I'm trying to get as many of them as possible.
Thanks.
I think we're running out of time, guys, here, and there's still close to 400 people on there. I don't want anybody to get upset, but I'm going to cut it off in about another 8 minutes at 3:30 my time, if that's acceptable to you guys. So any other questions, I'm willing to answer.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Quick question here. I just wanted to say that I feel like we're getting a little bit off track with the whole EV thing. I know it's a side venture that kind of fell into your lap from a shareholder, but when I originally got into this company, correct me if I'm wrong, you were more focused on the VR, gaming, NFTs, correct? I mean, that is your main focus. That's what's going to bring in revenue, and that's what you were focused on before EV even became part of the conversation, correct?
Nothing's changed. Other than I'm adding to it with that. I explained this earlier, that it came into my lap and I'm taking advantage of it, which hopefully benefits you guys. NFTs alive and well, VR alive and well, all of, so nothing's changed. Gaming very much alive and well.
No, correct. I just, seeing from the chats that I have when we're on here, I just feel people start focusing too much on EV when in reality, I thought the main thing we're looking at right now is NFTs. Anything else comes up, that's fine. But I feel like this can give us our revenue, correct?
I think it all can, but at this point, that's very secure. I think everybody understands that we're taking a path down a road that, it's electric vehicles. There's a lot going on in that world. So, yeah, I mean, but we're trust me, we are focused, as you will see, on what I said at the very beginning, and we're expanding in that area also in the NFT world, in the blockchain world, and I think you'll be happy with what we're doing there too. You're right. All of a sudden, it's become the Apogee EV world, but there's a lot more to this company than that.
Hey, Mr. Brown. Oh, I have a question. I mean, I'm from Surrey, so that's actually one of my questions.
Well, why don't you come down to the office then?
I know. Actually, I really should. I even saw the Coquitlam one, and yeah, it looks very promising. My sister was wondering, when you do open the Surrey office, will you be hiring online? How would that work out? Because she'd be interested.
Well, first of all, it won't be the office.
Oh yes, it's the warehouse.
It's the industrial part of the development of the automobile and the powertrain and stuff. Offices won't be there, except some small offices, but the corporate offices are still downtown Vancouver.
Okay, and then the second question was, I know you said that you have no idea when, but realistically in your vision, what would your hopes be to get onto the NASDAQ, time frame wise?
The NASDAQ or the OTCQB?
No, fast forwarding to the NASDAQ, of your actual goal of when you would like to see your company on there.
Late next year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ed? Yep. Okay. I just have one question. Is it possible that we can actually have a Q&A some way with Mr. LT, either have a live session with him, or maybe if we can have a PR with just to know what his ideas is, and just to know what his vision is and all that. Thank you.
So, possible, but you don't get to talk to the guys in the back room who are building the computer. I've got to protect them to a certain point.
Mr. Brown, I can't hear your voice. If you can come through. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry, that was me. You got to take this the right way. So again, I was always saying that you don't get to talk to the top engineers at the back office of Microsoft when they're doing the shareholders conference, because that's not what he does. And that's not what, that's
No, Mr. Brown, I'm not asking for us to talk to him. I'm saying like if you can basically set up some sort of like a video or some sort of like a Q&A with yourself, maybe, just that we can understand like what his ideas and vision is, because I did a lot of research about him, and the only thing that I could find about him is actually a book about Linux that he does. He's into programming and computer programming and all that.
There's actually quite a bit more than that out there. So to answer your question, I do foresee that happening when it's the right time. He's a very, very smart man, but he's not a speaker. But yes, I'm sure at some point that will come. I don't want to make any promises at this point. And please take that the right way. I'm not hiding him from you. It's just that's just not the right thing to do right now to that gentleman.
Sure, I understand that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown, I have a quick question. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
So you tweeted a while back ago about Alliance Global Partners, and they're a very reputable investment bank. Just want to see kind of if you could expand on that. Did you have some deals with them back in the past, and are they potentially an investment bank you think you would knock on the door when the time is right?
So the answer is I have had dealings in the past, and I will be banging on that door and many others, as I said in the previous conversations.
Great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Hi, just a quick question. Well, two actually. One, is Tanya Lariza part of HPIL?
Tanya is my personal executive assistant.
Okay, and she's also, it's correct that she's listed on the OTC markets under HPIL?
I'm not sure how that happened, but she's my personal executive.
Okay. All right, that's fine. And then, thank you. And then the next question would be, is Crank Virtual, specifically Pinnacle, is that still being worked on with Rebella VXP Realty?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
You're welcome.
Hey, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
I had a quick question. Were you ever wanting to do like a stock buyback in the future?
Have no idea. Not even thinking about it. And I'm not trying to be evasive. You're asking, that question is something that is down the road. One more time, I'm going to repeat, and I know I will stick to my guns on this, and I'm truthful when I say it. I'm only about building the company. I will make those appropriate decisions at that time. If I start making those decisions now, then I'm not being a good CEO to you guys. So because I can't predict the future.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that answer.
You're welcome.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Cece. I am wife of Spock. And I would just like to know, first of all, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And what will you be presenting at the Emerging Growth Conference?
Well, it'll be a little bit different to this, but it'll be a little bit different, but it's the same. I mean, there'll be different. It's a different type of conference. There's a lot of investment bankers there, so it's a little bit more, dry, for the lack of a word. We are a video presentation, a short one. It'll be the first time I'm talking in front of a lot of investment bankers, well, along with some other regular investors. But I must be honest with you.
Mr. Brown, we can't hear you when you're facing away from
the sorry, it's me. As I said, a lot of them are investment bankers that are on that are involved in that. I've never been involved in it before, and I'll be talking to people like that. But it's more of a presentation. There's no Q&A. I don't believe there's much of a Q&A anyway. They approached me, and I agreed to go on there.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Hi, this is Gloria. I want to thank you very much for everything you're doing for us. You're an excellent, excellent CEO. I have total faith in you, and I'm going to be with HPNL for a long time.
Okay, Gloria. Well, just for that, I'll buy you lunch for you.
Absolutely. Tell me when I'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Brown, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes. Hi. So it's concerning blockchain technologies, and I was wondering.
There's only 2 more minutes, honey.
Yeah, just 2 more. You guys, I got to go. It's been an hour and a half. So, but go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to gather your thoughts on building proper, most likely proof of stake or eco-friendly blockchain technologies with the use of decentralized applications to host gaming tech. I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that, or if you guys would pursue that as one of your.
I don't have any thoughts on that right now.
Okay.
I don't, because it's not in our. Not even talking about it. I'm very, very, very intrigued by blockchain. I think it's got so many moving parts. I think it could be relevant in many different areas, from the entertainment to gaming to all kinds of things. But yeah, moving parts a lot right now. But we're going to utilize it. We're even going to utilize it in the automobiles. So.
David and Stephen,
yeah.
we appreciate you both. Our group is not looking for the ifs but wins, and we are very proud of what you guys are doing and going forward, and really appreciate everything y'all are doing to put behind this company and move it forward.
Is that Penny?
It's Hat Drop.
Oh, Hat Drop. Okay, sorry. Thank you very much, Hat Drop. I appreciate it. I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then I got to go, guys. Go ahead. 2 more.
Go.
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, this is Omar Al Sharif from Saudi Arabia.
Thank you
for hosting this event. We really appreciate it. I just had a question. Are you looking into creating your like a cryptocurrency along with the NFTs?
Not with the NFTs. I haven't really had any thoughts about that. If you saw in the world gaming with Gamers Cash and Tunes Cash, it's a form of a currency, but it's definitive within the industry. So, for example, Gamers Cash is a currency within the gaming industry. I can't expand on it more than that, but you'll see that pretty soon. So that's what we're doing right now, at least to that extent.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Could I have the last question, Stephen?
Yes, you do.
I just wanted to touch on Origin Protocol.
Yes.
And also the fact that after you did the partnership with them, that also big type companies such as Amazon and Google have also done that since. Thank you again, and have a good rest of your night.
Thank you very much. I thank you, everybody, and I hope we meet next month from now. I'll be announcing it. It's probably going to be again the beginning of the month. Sorry, and I really truly do appreciate the very strong shareholders, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity. Have a great day.